guys need to open up to LCM. What does LCM stand for? Least common multiple. So we are going to continue working with least common multiple today. And we are down at this bottom portion here, finding the least common multiple of 3 or more numbers. So if I have to find least common multiple, the very first thing I need to do is find my prime factorization. So I need to make a factor tree. So I'm going to go ahead and write the number 6 up here. I'm going to write the number 8 right here. And I'm going to write the number 20 over here. So that way I've got my work organized so I can make a factor tree. And let's go ahead and break the number 6 down. What can the 6 break into? 2 and 3, good. And then we're actually done with it, aren't we? What does our 8 break into? 2 and 4, and then the 4 breaks into 2 and 2. So I'm going to do 2 times 2 times 2 for the number 8. Nope, that's perfectly fine to do. And then what are we going to break the number 20 down to? 2, 2, and 5. Very good. Nice job. You could do 2 and 10. You could do 4 and 5. And then break the 4 down into 2 and 2. So that's where the 2, 2, and 5 comes in. And now for least common multiple, we got to stack them. So I'm going to go ahead and write 2 times 3. And then for 8, I got 2, 2, and 2. So I'm going to write 2 times 2 times 2. And then for 20, I got 2 times 2 times 5. Do you see any numbers that are in all 3 of those lists? Yeah, what do you see? The 2, right? There's a 2 in all 3 of them. So we're going to circle that. Now, here's the thing with LCM. When you go to circle, it doesn't have to be in all 3 of the lists. If it's in 2 of the lists, it can get circled. So is there anything that's in 2 of the lists? 2, right? So go ahead and circle that other 2. Is there anything else that's in 2 of the lists? No. All right, so let's see. We circled a set of 2s. So I'm going to go ahead and cross that off and write a 2. And then I've got another a set of 2 circled, so I'm going to cross that off and write it down. Now, for least common multiple, we want the least amount of garbage, so what do we do with our leftovers? Nope. For least common multiple, we want the least amount of garbage, so we recycle and multiply them. So we're going to recycle this 3 right here. We're going to recycle this 2 right here. And we're going to recycle this 5 right here. So we're recycling all those numbers. That's a lot to multiply, isn't it? And I can see a couple of people grabbing calculators. You are more than welcome to use a calculator to help you with that multiplication if you need to. So go ahead and multiply 2 times 2 times 3 times 2 times 5. You guys getting, is it 120? Is that right? 120 I'm getting. So our least common multiple is 120. Yes, go ahead. In all 3 of the lists with Oh, I see what you're saying. If it's in all 3 of the lists, you have to circle all 3 of them together. And then after that, then you can go down to the 2. Yeah, good question. I see what you're thinking though. All right, let's do the same thing for 15, 30, and 50. So I'm going to write 15 up here. I'm going to write 30 right here. And I'm going to write 50 up here to organize my work. What do you guys breaking the 15 down into? 3 and 5? And then you're done, aren't you? What do you break the 30 into? 15 and 2. What else could you do? 10 and 3 or 5 and 6, I think, right? I'll do 3 and 10. Writing this down? And then the 10 will break down into a 2 and a 5. And then what do you guys break the 50 into? Go ahead. 5 and 10. Very good. 5 and 10. And then let's break the 10 down into 2 and 5. Now what do we do with them? Stack them. Yep, write them down and stack them. So I've got 3 times 5. I've got 2 times 3 times 5. And I've got 2 times 5 times 5. Okay, so how many of the lists does it have to be in? Only 2 of them, right? But if it's in all 3 of them, we're going to circle it. So do you see how there's a 5 in all 3 of them? Circle that, cross it off, write it once. Do you see anything else that's in at least 2 of them? The 2, good. So I'm going to circle the 2, cross it off, write it once. Is there anything else that's in at least 2 of them? The 3, good. Circle the 3s, write it once, cross it off. Anything else? The 5, right? What do we do with our leftovers? Multiply. We got to recycle them. We want least common multiple. We want the least amount of garbage. So let's recycle those. And what are you getting? 150? Is that what everybody else is getting? I'm getting 10 times 15. My least common multiple is 150. Any questions on that? All right, let's flip to our next page. And on this page, we're still going to be finding least common multiple. But we're actually going to be finding the least common multiple of monomials. So we have 15x squared and 27x. I'm going to go ahead and write my 15x squared over to the left here. And I'm going to write my 27x over to the right. And we're going to start by breaking these down. So what are you breaking the 15 into? 3 and 5. So I'm going to write 3 times 5. And then how many x's do we have? 2. So I'm going to write times x times x. What are you breaking the 27 into? 9 and 3. So I've got a 3 and a 9. And then what does the 9 break into? 3 and 3. And how many x's? This one. So now we're going to stack them. So I've got 3 times 5 times x times x. That's my 15x squared. And then I've got 3 times 3 times 3 times x. So 3 times 3 times 3 times x. All right, do we have anything in both of our lists? The 3's, right? So how many times do we write that? Once, and then cross it off. Do we have any other? Let's just look at the numbers right now. Do I have any numbers, other numbers that are in both of them? No, so for this one, we circled the 3 and wrote it once. Because we're working with least common multiple, we want the least amount of garbage. So we need to recycle these leftovers. So I'm going to recycle the 5, the 3, and the 3. Now I'm noticing when I get to my x's that I have an x in common. So I'm going to circle it and write that once. And then what do I do with this leftover x? What do you guys think? Recycle it. So when we multiplied, did we get 135 for that one? So 135x squared. Let's jump down to this one right here now. So everybody can write this one down. We have 14 times a times b and 21 times B times C. So we're going to break this one down. What can the 14 break into? 2 and 7. So I'm getting 2 times 7. You guys need to write this down. They're separate. And then the 21 is breaking into 3 times 7, you're saying? Write this down, bud. So we're going to start off by writing my 14AB. I have 2 times 7. And then how many A's do I have? How many B's do I have? 1. So I'm going to write times A times B. And then for the 21, I'm going to go ahead and write 3 times 7. How many B's do I have? 1. How many C's do I have? 1. So times B times C. Circle what they have in common. So what do you guys see they have in common? 7. And we're just going to look at the numbers right now. So just look at the numbers. So they have a 7 in common. So how many times do I write that 7? Once. And what do I do with my leftovers? Recycle. Yep. So we're going to do times 2 times 3. We're recycling those leftovers. Now that we're done with our numbers, do we have any variables in common? So I'm going to go ahead and circle a B. And I'm going to write times B. And what do I do with my leftovers? Recycle them. So I'm going to write times A times C. You have a question? Oh, you do? What'd you get for your answer? Very good. 42. And we've got a B, an A, and a C. So B, A, C. Or if you wanted to, I recommend to write these in alphabetical order. So it would be 14 A, B, C for that one. Right thing. The right thing was said, the wrong thing was written. It's 42 instead of 14. I'm sorry. It should say 42 A, B, C.